Alien Romulus has now released worldwide for people to see. I am now one of those people who have seen it, and I am ready to go through explaining the ending of the film in detail for you all who have seen it like me. Hello to any and all movie nerds and fans out there. Welcome to Film Obsessed. If you are someone who has been looking forward to the movie as a casual fan or is a general hardcore Alien franchise fan, let me know down below in the comments and give the video a like and subscribe. I'm trying to build a film community on this channel, and I'd really appreciate your support as we run through this video. Without further ado, sit back, relax, grab some popcorn, and let's jump right into it. I'll just get it out of the way by saying that this is one of my favorite films of the year so far. I had a really good time with this one, and it is an experience that sends you on a thrill ride of great tension to the highest degree. This video is not a review or analysis of the entire movie, it's more so going to be running through the ending and the details that connect in with it based on how the movie calls back to the entire franchise. As you can tell by the title, I thought that the ending of this movie went to a place that I was not expecting with regards to certain things of which we will discuss in detail. Let's run through how we got there in the first place. The movie focuses around a group of characters who are trying to get aboard a decommissioned space station to retrieve some tech. When looking for what they need on board, what they don't realize is that the station is filled with the very alien life that this franchise is known for, with tons of facehuggers and xenomorphs that took over the space station when it went out of commission. After falling into this trap, the crew must find a way to get out, escaping the aliens before the entire space station gets destroyed by the planet's rings that it orbits. The beginning of the movie and as it got closer to the middle part are normal to what you see in a lot of other movies, and especially with something like the original 1979 movie in this franchise. It built up the characters for us to get to know them and the world that they surround themselves in. They are trying to flee away from their lives because they are put in a bad situation due to how terrible the Weyland-Yutani Corporation is. The space station they try to get aboard is filled with fuel that will get them to fly away to another planet. When they get on that station, everything is going smoothly for the most part, until they end up coming across the aliens that this station was studying, and things start getting out of control once they get loose. Our crew is put in a situation where they now have to get out of the station and escape away. While trying to figure out how to do that, they come across a lab within the station that holds a severed in half android. This android just so happens to not only share the same face, but also the very same body of another android that this franchise has seen once before with the character of Ash from the original 1979 Alien movie. Now, I won't lie to you, this took me off guard for a second when I saw it, not just because I wasn't expecting to see this character of all characters get brought back, but I also was taken off guard by the face filter that they used given that the actor is no longer around and they have to project his face onto the body. Now, I've already seen the outcry from some people on social media about how this is a very unnecessary callback and it makes no sense. And to some degree, they're not wrong, but from a personal perspective, I didn't dislike it as heavily as they did. This android is not the same one, which is good, thankfully, because I think that would actually have hurt it way more if that was the case. This android is named Rook, and at one point, he gives our characters who are left alive a monologue about how this station came to find the aliens, and it connects in with the original 1979 film. Romulus takes place in between both Alien and Aliens, so the timeline of it all works out. The Weyland-Yutani Corporation had set out to find the original xenomorph alien that Ellen Ripley had shot out of her ship at the end of the movie, as we see that Romulus depicts this at the very opening of the film. Her alien was dead, but seemingly cocooned inside a giant shell that Yutani picked up in space. Rook explains that they brought it back to the space station to study, and at one point things got out of hand and the aliens got loose, killing everyone on board, leaving it out of commission, floating through space. Again, timeline-wise, this completely makes sense. It's just that the actual idea of seeing the same face of an android we know on a different android entirely doesn't quite fit. I'm sure that some fans will note that it would have made it a lot better if it was a different person, especially when you factor in that all the past Alien movies that have featured an android were all played by different actors. Now, I'm definitely not as knowledgeable about the lore of the Alien franchise as others are, but I would assume that the way androids work in this world is that they all look differently than one another. You had an actor like Ian Holm play Ash in the original film, Lance Henriksen is Bishop in Aliens, and then someone like Michael Fassbender is David in Prometheus and Alien Covenant. And I would also mention that in Alien Covenant, you do see that there are 2 Davids. So technically speaking, this is not the first time that you see 2 androids of the same look on screen. So it's a little muddy how you can describe whether or not it makes sense that you can have 2 of the same looking android on screen or even remotely existing within the same timeline. With the filter that they used to display his face, it did come off as being a little uncanny to look at quite a bit for how much they ended up using his character until he fully died at the end of the movie. The next big callback and reveal that ties in with the ending of the film and the rest of the franchise revolves around Prometheus and Alien Covenant, as I just mentioned them. Again, timeline-wise, this all makes sense because those 2 movies take place before the original Alien. We see in Prometheus that the engineer characters are the ones who started this entire thing by creating the aliens themselves because they believe that they would be used as weapons in a potential war according to the lore. They did this out of creating a black goo-like substance that helped in their creation for the aliens. This was the same goo that was found in the pods that the Prometheus crew came across in their expedition and succumbed to it at the same time. We see that within another section of the space station, Rook explains to our characters that they found this very goo and they were experimenting with it given its unique ability to create life. That life, as we all know, are the aliens, the xenomorphs. So right there you have all these tie-ins with how this movie factors in with the past installments of the franchise, and there are going to be some fans that don't feel this was necessary to do so. But in some ways, I don't think that the film did it out of spite. I do believe they did it out of creating a story that made sense for why our characters find themselves there in the first place. And also, I would harp on the fact that this is also just good world building and lore building, given where we've seen this franchise go in the past. The ending of the film also suggests that technically speaking, it doesn't even hurt any of the other installments that came after, especially if we're talking about something like James Cameron's Aliens. It seems like Yutani had done enough with their experiments on finding the alien and the goo that they were able to send it over to other places, which would factor into tying it to aliens with how it got to the colony planet that our main characters go to in that movie. Whether or not that you like that this was included in the storyline, you can't deny that it does make sense, especially now that when we go over to the actual ending of Alien Romulus. So as the movie keeps progressing, we find that our characters are dying off, and we are left with only Cailee Spaany's Rain and David Jonsson's Andy, who is the movie's other android. After finding a way to get back onto their ship to escape away, they came across Isabela Merced's character Kay, who they thought was dead originally, but somehow managed to survive, and after a mix-up that split our characters apart for a second, Rain gives Kay a case that is filled with the black goo that Rook gave to Andy originally. He had been corrupted by Rook's chip, which allowed Rook to use him as a way to get the black goo off the ship. Kay mistakenly, when heading towards the ship, injects herself with one of the vials. Kay is able to get on board, as well as the other 2 who fought their way relentlessly against the xenomorphs when Rain went back to rescue Andy. They get out in time as they see the space station crash into the rings orbiting their planet, thinking that all that they experienced was just destroyed. This is where the next massive reveal takes place, as Rain puts Kay into one of the cryotubes that they were meant to collect from the space station originally. We find that the goo has gotten into Kay's system, and we see her birth an alien egg. She revealed earlier in the film that she was pregnant, and so this is how that connects into this. The alien that we see get revealed after this is one of the more horrifying pieces of imagery that I have seen in a very long time. Think of it this way, given I might not have an image to show you on screen. It is essentially the body of a xenomorph, but has a more human and engineer-like face that makes it look all the more grotesque. The body on this thing is disgusting, even at times more than a regular xenomorph body. I've seen some people compare this to exactly what happens in Alien Resurrection with the newborn xenomorph, so I can kind of see the similarities there. It attacks Rain and Andy and kills Kay, while also growing in size to a very big level. We also get another callback-like scene here as Rain, being the only one left, puts herself in a spacesuit and lures the alien into the ship's cargo bay to only manage to get the hatch to open up, dropping the alien out of the ship into the vastness of space, to what I might add is a very beautiful shot of hanging outside looking at the planet's rings with the space station in the background burning up. A nice badass scene that gives a good callback to how Ellen Ripley did it in the original. With regards to the alien itself, again, I don't know the lore as well as others, so I would assume that this is a new kind of xenomorph that has never been depicted. I'd be curious to see how people felt about this one, because it was kind of projected that an ending like this was going to happen after we saw Kay inject herself with that vial. I just don't think that people were expecting this kind of alien to be what we ended up seeing. When Kay was giving birth to the alien egg, I was fully expecting that it would just be another regular xenomorph, but then we ended up getting something else entirely that was honestly a lot scarier. Rain is able to put Andy in cryo after surviving his attack. She records an audio log for her ship before putting herself in cryo as well, and again, this is another similar way to how the original Alien finished, although this one might have a bit more of a definitive ending than we think. Given the context of what came before this, it would show that depending on what comes in the future for this franchise, this could honestly be seen as a one-off kind of movie. There is no post-credit scene to suggest that a story could come about with Rain and Andy's characters. She was able to collect the cryopods the crew needed originally to go to another planet 6 years away. It seems like wherever they go, they won't be anywhere near any more alien life that show them factoring into another movie or another situation where they have to experience what they went through in Romulus. It's definitely possible that you don't have to continue the story of these two who are left, and that's what makes the ending way more definitive than most people would think. It is an ending that I honestly probably like a lot more if that would be the case, even though I did really like these two characters, again, who are played very well by Cailee Spaeny and David Jonsson. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the ending explained for Alien Romulus. Again, this was a joyride through and through, and one of my favorite films of the year so far. I will have an actual film analysis and commentary review of the movie coming out within the next several days, so stay tuned for that if you want to see it, if you've made it this far into the video. Leave your comments down below about what you think about my commentary on the ending and what led up to it. If you want to see more moving forward from me on this channel with regards to film, and you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and also subscribe if you are new here, and turn on that notification bell to be updated for when I upload again. So yeah, that's a wrap, folks. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day, and I will see you all soon for the next video.